Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Big Boy from Boy Gang Gang, and y'all listening to I Ain't Telling You No Story. Hey, how y'all doing today? Today, we got special guests on Boy Gang Gang presents I Ain't Telling You No Story. We got two special guests today. We have the Blackshear brothers. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Um, all right.
All right, so I'm Eli, Elijah Blackshear,
And I'm Elisha Blackshear.
and we're identical twin brothers, but we have an organization called Lynx Survivalist, and whereby we provide survival education for families.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we'll we'll start with the first question or whatever. Okay. All right. So what first inspired you all to adopt a survival lifestyle, and how has it evolved over time?
All right, so I guess I'll go first. Now, I lived 15 years in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, and so it wasn't because I was in the military or anything like that. Quite frankly, I just wanted to get lost. And I just thought that American living was very boring and there had to be more to life than just, what we see on TV. I decided to, in those 15 years, been to 22 different countries, not just to visit, but to live and to know how people live, not in the cities, but in the villages. And so I made it a point to learn um, their languages, their songs, the dance, cooking their food, and things of that nature. And so I really wanted to just immerse myself in different cultures, in the plural. Uh, because I guess I was in essence trying to find myself, because it just to me had to be more to life than just you know being a teacher.
Okay.
So yeah. Oh, and what I want to say is that by going to these different villages, living in these different villages, I saw how they lived, and I saw what it took to survive. Now, they're called third world countries simply because of the fact that they have been pillaged and and just all of the resources have just been scraped out of there, and the people have been left behind with literally nothing, and so they had to build from the ground up by themselves. Um, yeah, so each of their histories are a bit devastating, but as a result, once the occupiers were done with them, then they coined the term. Now you all are third world countries, but they have unique lifestyles and how they live and how they hunt, gather, cook, and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for myself, I've been in security, law enforcement, different details and posts and operations of secured escorts and even leading on the road caravans. During my last employment, I dealt with an incident where now, I've been on workman's comp. So, on workman's comp, and at the same time, when my brother came back from Indonesia, we were deciding what to do. How do we blend our skill sets? So, he had a high skill set of archery. I have a high skill set of firearms, security, surveillance, different ways of using equipment for protecting others as well as yourself. So we we were looking for a name that we were just brainstorming. We weren't, like literally Googling, but we were just brainstorming on how to name the survival group, and we were like, name something to link people to our survival organization. Then we were like, links. Okay, well, all right, Lynx Survivalist, you're linked to surviving. was our first motto. And so then we also researched the Lynx cat, the the spelling of our title. We decided to use that, and
Yeah, and then we discovered that most lynx species are endangered.
they're in
So,
danger. So
yeah.
we recognized that on our website to protect the lynx feline species.
Okay.
And so that's how we came up with the name and the concept of just merging our skill sets together to train families, where husband, wives,
Mhm.
boyfriend, girlfriend. We would always push bringing the kids. People bring your kids, bring your grandkids if you don't have kids, if your kids are grown.
Mhm.
Bring the children out so they're able to learn how to assemble a tent, learn how to read a map, learn
Mhm.
how to use a compass, learn how to not get lost, and if you're lost, find your way to where you have to go, and including reading a map. So
Mhm.
we've had quite a few workshops that protect the children from being abducted. So
I think what we did was we started the company. Well, we started doing activities back in 2016, and then we became incorporated in 2018.
Okay.
But during that time, and even during COVID, we decided not to get vaxxed or anything, to spend even more time outdoors because it was the people who were spending their time indoors getting sick. These people, they spent all of their time without fresh air, without direct sunlight. Those were the ones getting sick. And the more we ventured out, came out to discover that, we weren't getting sick. We didn't even have symptoms. So we just started increasing right after the what was it? Like
the
the
pandemic.
no, no. I mean, right after the shutdown or whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
as soon as they started alleviating some of those things, we were right out there in the state parks having open,
Open air
sessions, yeah,
classes.
open air
Yeah.
classes and sessions and archery and camping and fishing and hiking and all that stuff.
Mhm. Okay. Alright. Okay. So how can you stay mentally and emotionally resilient in survival situations, especially when resources are limited?
All right. So we know we know about group dynamics and how they deteriorate once people begin to, let's say, settle in to the group. Yeah. So I kind of think that, for people to have a survivalist group can be a little overrated simply because of the fact that if the individuals are not level headed, if they're not, let's say, intellectually, if they don't make the decisions based on intelligence, then what's going to happen is there's going to be a breakdown within the group. So when it comes to children, that that breakdown is really limited when I say breakdown, I mean like the panic modes and things of that nature. You don't want children panicking, so what you do is you create routines, you create practice drills, you create fire drills. If the house were on fire, how would we get out? And you practice that. If there were a tornado, where would we go? If there was a home invasion, what would we do? You practice that openly with the children and make that part of the routine. And when an incident really does occur, they just follow what happens naturally. Why? Because they practiced it and drilled. So they
Mhm.
know automatically what to do.
Let me add to that, to where when resources are scarce, and how do you maintain your collectability, your character, you're not failing to keep yourself together. That
Mhm.
has to do with skill set. So the higher your skill set and the higher your planning, the more than likely, because you have a skill set, you have plans in place, there's no room for panic. But if there is no plan, there's an open vacuum for panic, not knowing what to do. These resources are low. How do I maintain my emotions and then keep the kids calm, keep the household calm, keep the family calm,
Mm-hmm.
or the tribe or group, keep them calm. It has to do with planning. It has a lot to do with the skill set. So you heighten your skill set. Okay, we have to collect water, then let's make water filters now instead of waiting till then making water filters. Let's
Yeah.
make workable water filters now, maybe about
Uh-huh.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, and
Yeah.
have them set up and tried. Of course, you're gonna have your first one. You're gonna try that, and then whatever works best, do the exact same thing. Several of those. Then, in order to keep warm, you have to have your wood chopped. You can't chop wood when it's snowing outside. You have to start chopping your wood late summer.
Basically, it's the old story of the ant and the grasshopper. The ant was busy all summer long when the weather was nice and fine and dandy, got ready for winter. Meanwhile, the grasshopper was just frolicking about, ridiculing the ant, and then when tough times came, the grasshopper died. Why? It didn't prepare.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, when you notice squirrels start hiding their nuts in the grass, that's usually early fall, late summer. They start acting that way. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as when you see wildlife preparing for the winter, you've got to do the same thing. That's your time clock.
Yeah.
Of course, different hemispheres, there's different timings. Our summer is the other world's winter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
their winter is our summer. And so, you have to prepare accordingly. And you use the animals to really give you insight to what you need to do. But prepping, preparing, skill sets, planning,
And
all of that.
rehearsing and drilling, exactly, rehearsing and drilling, just act it out, just
Yeah.
act it out, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's at least 10 ways to gather water without turning on the faucet, but a lot of people don't know that.
I'll give you an example. Like we've had heavy dew out here in the mornings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is that you put your thickest towels on top of the bushes outside before you go to bed. I was teasing my sister this. I said, "Hey, if you're thirsty in the morning, just throw the towels on the bushes before you go to bed." She was like, "What? What? What do you mean? What?" And actually, if you have enough thick towels out there, and they're clean towels, of course, you can wring those. You can wring at least a gallon,
At least a gallon
at
of
least a
water,
gallon of water just from the dew, depending on how many towels you have and their thickness.
and you run
Yeah.
that through a filter or you boil it, and you have a gallon of water just from dew.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's just one. That's one aspect, but
Yeah.
there's many others.
Yeah. Yeah. A natural resource. So,
Natural
Yeah,
so
resource
yeah.
that's not tainted with pollution,
Uh-huh.
and because you have
and microplastics.
battery runoffs, you have antifreeze, all this stuff in the Chattahoochee that people are going to depend on. Watch,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to depend on that, but it's
Hmm.
full of chemicals, and you can't
Yeah.
filter chemicals. You can't even
Yeah.
boil chemicals.
Yeah.
So one of the cleanest ways is to collect dew.
Okay. All right. Yeah. There's definitely interesting survival fact or whatever, especially for collecting water or whatever. Because think about it, like people people so comfortable with running water all the time. Like whenever the water stop, they they stop because they don't know where to go or whatever. So they're definitely a important tip and fact or whatever to gathering your water doing survival mode or whatever. So okay. So another question. So for beginners, what would the first step be toward making um for being more prepared for unexpected disasters?
Watch the news. And now we, there are certain multi social media networks that are more reliable, newsworthy. I mean, they're more newsworthy than your three basic stations. Looking at their 6 o'clock news. Um, but you've got to remain informed. You got to be informed and remain informed, and then you have to think about what are these scenarios. Like Florida just got hit by a hurricane, Helene, and then it went up to North Carolina and Tennessee. We all know what happened there. But now round two, Milton, is on the way, and then there's a third one baking just south of Acapulco. So if you already are aware of things like that going on, you have to have a secondary place to go to. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But we prefer like bugging in, yeah, bugging in. But then if you have to, then at least you would have another destination. And if you don't have a reliable transportation, then it's by foot. A lot of people are not cardio ready. They People have got to learn how to increase their cardio threshold. Some people don't even know what their cardio threshold is. And so the first ones to go are the ones who their bodies aren't prepared. Never mind that they don't have all of the accoutrements to survival. Their body's not prepared, and their
Yeah.
mind is not geared in the right place. And then there's got to be a sense of hope. If there's hopelessness in one's heart, that's the less likely that person is going to survive.
Yeah.
In addition, I had spoken to my sister last week. She lives in Tampa. We have two sisters that live in Tampa. I spoke to one of them last week. Before Hurricane Helene hit, she was telling me that we're going to sit it out. It's not going to be that bad because it's just going to skirt, you
Skirt.
know, the side of the state and go on to the panhandle instead of hitting Tampa directly. So she is just sheltering in place. Got her water. She got solar panels, generators, and she sat that one out. But now I don't know what the name of this is. Milton or Melvin.
Milton.
Milton
Mm-hmm.
just became a Category 3, 8 o'clock this morning. It was a Category 1 yesterday. So it's in waters that's up by 4 to 5 degrees above normal. This hurricane is going to do a direct hit to Tampa. Now, what my sister told me in the last hurricane, that the police were out with their, those the microphone on the top of the cars, announcing mandatory evacuations for South Tampa. Now, in this regard, now in this hurricane now,
Milton.
Milton, Milton's gonna hit directly, and so it's gonna be a mandatory evacuation. So, I'm gonna give my sister a call. They said it's scheduled to hit Wednesday evening. So she has to boarder up her windows, boarder up her doors, bring whatever valuables she has and her kids, and go somewhere. She may just drive up here to Atlanta. It's a 6-hour drive from Atlanta to Tampa
Mm-hmm.
on I-75. So the migration from that area is going to be horrific because they're going to bounce on I-10, they're going to bounce on I-75, they're going to go across the turnpike and go I-95 north. This thing is going to go through the entire peninsula of Florida.
While they're sitting in their cars on the day of the storm. You
Yeah,
see,
so they're going to be locked up in traffic. But
Mm-hmm.
the way to prepare for that is, yes, you have to be informed, but also have your plywood in the garage already. Don't wait till till the
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 day of.
disaster is about to hit. Everyone's at Home Depot or some lumber location getting plywood, and more likely they'll run out. The sandbags, they'll run out, and then securing your property before leaving. So I don't know how that's exactly done. You know, it's like, okay, you gotta border up all your windows, border up all the doors, and when you pack your car, you may just have to border up your own front door. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of looters wait for that. They wait for disaster.
The looters wait behind, and so do the illegals.
And so to prepare for that again, just watch the news, but have your stuff in the garage already. You can't grab water. You can't grab things that you will need at that time. It's always have that wood, always have your nails, have your tools prepared. So more than likely, it's going to be a mandatory evacuation. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Okay. So we're gonna move right along. Um. What are some essential items everyday household should have in a survival kit?
Okay, so if you look up at our website, uh,
LynxSurvivalist.com.
linksurvivalist.com, you're going to see a whole lot of different categories. It's an 80-page website.
Okay.
And one of those subcategories on the home page, you're going to see a listing in the index. And you look under prepping, uh, and you're going to see uh, a list. And part of that list has to do with uh, bug out bags. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those
Mm-hmm.
bug out bags, there are many different types of bags. You would have a home bag, for the general home. Let's describe these bags first and then describe the compartments that are in the bag. And then we can talk about the items. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a bag that you would have, it's called a like your carry-on bag. That bag you would carry with you everywhere you go. You would have a vehicular bag. That vehicle bag would either be in your RV, your SUV, your sedan, your motorcycle, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every occupant in the household should have their own immediate bag. So every child living in the house should have a bag under their bed, along with a helmet. In that bag, they should have, these are the 7 compartments um, in each bag. You have to deal with nutrition, sanitation, protection, medication, hydration, and then there's communication, and there's always that one more.
You need a map.
Uh, Location. Yes, location. So those are the 7 shuns that need to be considered. And so with each compartment in those bags, each compartment should have its own color. You may want to make your medication bag red. So that's like your first aid kits, everything related to your body, whether it's meds, vitamins, supplements, whatever it is. And then you have your hydration bag that can be blue.
Mm-hmm.
That would contain either bottled water, a water filter, something of that nature. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's your communication bag. Your communication bag could have your walkie-talkie, could have a whistle, could have a personal siren. Um,
Now, what he means by bags is that everything needs to be in a Ziploc bag to be kept dry. You don't know while you're on the run if you're going to be in some water. A
Mm-hmm.
person can trip and fall, end up
Yeah.
splashing in mud or whatever. But to keep the integrity of everything that you have in your backpack, everything needs to be itemized in a Ziploc bag, especially a paper map.
the location compartment would have your paper map. Hopefully, it's laminated. Yeah. It would have a compass. It would have other items that is necessary for self navigation. Yeah. Your sanitation compartment bag should have everything necessary with toiletries, your paper towels, all this, that, and for women, feminine hygiene products and things of that nature. And then the nutrition bag. Of course, you don't want to carry like a 5 course meal in a bag, but
But you can hydrate your fruits. You
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 mean
don't
dehydrate. You want to
dehydrate.
dehydrate your
So
fruit.
what you're going to do is that you're going to vacuum seal your fruits. You dice them up like I don't know. You can do that with bananas, pineapples, and when you vacuum seal those fruits, that's fresh. That's good to go into your backpack.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you have to open it is just with a knife, and you have edible. Same thing with meat. Like if you cook some meat, you chop it up, let it cool. You put it in the that vacuum bag where cause the sealant, that
Mm-hmm.
machine that vacuum seals everything. You put the meat in there, it vacuum seals it, takes all the air out, and that is good for several years. So in my backpack, I have beef jerky, teriyaki turkey, dried turkey. I have protein bars. I have hydration powder because my backpack has a bladder. I could run the tube to my mouth while on the go. So the bladder is gonna have like either Powerade or I think Gatorade has more sodium than Powerade, so you really have to watch your sodium intake
Mm-hmm.
with those powders. So if you get the right hydration powder with low sodium, that's the best. Because while you're on the go, your heart's racing already. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need anything to up the threshold level of one's health.
And when it comes to those the home kits that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
there should be one on each floor. If you live in a 3-story home, upstairs and then downstairs in the basement, you need to have a bag on a kit on each level. Why? If there's a home invasion, everyone may want to run into the hat and into the attic. There ought to be a bag in the attic. If there's a tornado, everyone needs to run into the basement. There ought to be a bag in the basement pertinent to that of a tornado or a serious storm. And then there ought to be one on the ground floor, especially not. Now, I've seen some people actually keep their emergency bag next to the stove. Don't do that because how are you going to get to your fire blanket or to your fire extinguisher and the stove's up in flames? It's too hot to even get access to the bag. So it needs to be in a central location on each floor.
Okay. All right. So,
So along with that, there are some ways that you can prepare if you have to evacuate. So you can use these either a bucket. Don't bury the bucket all the way. You can only bury it maybe halfway, if that, because the suction of pulling it up is going to be so enormous that in times of stress and fatigue, that bucket's not going to be coming up unless you have real great adrenaline that's going through you. So, PCV valves, you can stuff your essentials in there: hat, gloves, uh, weapon, um, a Bible, water filter, fire starter, protein bars, and seal it. Put it outside, halfway buried, about 100 or 200 feet away from the house, in the direction that you know that you have to run. So if you can't grab anything and you're forced out there, if you're smoked out, if people set your house on fire, this is like when looters or criminals are just going from house to house, vandalizing, robbing, stealing, doing whatever they want to do, unstopped, unchecked, and they're setting houses on fire. You got to leave, you don't have a choice. You have your stuff already outside 100 to 200 feet in the direction that you've planned to go already.
Now, what Eli is talking about is caching. And so, caching or caching is actually putting essentials into these canisters that lead from point A to point B. Your initial home or your primary home could be location A, and then your safe place would be location B. But along the way, you would have um, prepared, you would have prepared your route by having these caches along the way.
That only works if you have a family plan. So even if the family is separated or the natural disaster, you have your son can work at Publix, your daughter could be in the mall, or this, that, the other. When they know when it hits the fan, where to go. And if the house is messed up, all right, where do I go after that? Okay, so then they know a specific area that this cash has been set aside under some logs, well hidden, painted all over also, because you just don't want to have an orange bucket out there or a white bucket out there. You want to paint it. You want to paint it.
Everyone's gonna get it, including the
You
doggone
want
squirrels.
you want
Yeah,
to paint it
yeah.
and hide it. So again, you don't put everything all the way under the ground. It is nearly impossible because of the vacuum
Especially if
to
it's
pull that
wet,
stuff
that
up.
water will
Mm-hmm.
draw back on you and create even more of a suction.
So
Mm-hmm.
when everyone plans, no matter where they are, and dress rehearsals have been done dozens of times, every family member knows where to go and what to do.
Okay.
But let's say this, bugging out is overrated. Bugging in is what's most important. Your last resort is bugging out.
Okay. All right. Okay. So an, another question. Can you all share some tips for building a strong community of or network of survivalists?
Okay, so all right. So first, let's talk about who people are.
And that
Yeah,
plan, that building a community doesn't work for everyone.
it doesn't work for everyone.
And those that oppose it, leave them out. Those that are doubters, leave them out. The elements of danger, leave them out. Sketchy individuals, leave them out. You gotta chop right away. Start chopping, and you gotta find those that are most favorable, and plus have the skill set.
That's true.
If they're on board and they got a skill set, that's the type of person. But I know what Eli was going to say.
Okay, so you have, all right, so let's talk about these individuals who do not have a skill set. They do not have any preparation, but yet they know that you're preparing. Oh, Johnny. Oh, wow, I didn't know you had all this stuff. I know where I'm going to go when I'm in trouble or when the world ends or something. No, 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 no. You put a big X in front of that person. That person is not allowed to come in. No skill set, no preparation. Da 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 da. No,
They will be the invader.
they'll be the invader.
Even family members.
Yeah,
When
and
they know, oh, this is a house I gotta go to in emergency. This is where I
mhm.
go. But what you doing? You're not doing nothing. You're not even communicating. I don't even see you, but maybe once a year or something.
So hide everything that you have. There are. Let's talk about worst case scenarios, and then let's talk about how we're going to build this community. So, worst case scenario is the individual known as the marauder. A marauder is a fellow prepper who has, however, acquired all of their wares by pilfering other preppers.
Through theft. Through theft.
Okay? So always beware of the marauder. These marauders are in your family. These marauders are the people who you trust most. So, however, if you were to, let's say, all there's so many lessons that can be learned from The Walking Dead. It's unreal. The Walking Dead, World War Z,
And the Colony series. You got to go back to the
yeah,
year
the Colony
2000.
series,
The
yes.
Colony series is the very first survival miniseries that I know of on a real life scale at the levels that we're talking about. I'm not talking about series like, I don't know, Planet of the Apes. Who, what that is irrelevant. And other miniseries that are out there way back in the day that are irrelevant to today. But the Colony is the name of the series. That's in 2000. You can probably Google it or YouTube it. Very interesting on the breakdown. And it was a scientific study.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
All
Okay.
right. So then, how do we build this community? Yeah. So it's it's almost like I'll show you yours if you show me mine, or I'll show you. I said that the wrong way, didn't I? I'll show you mine if you show me yours, right? That kind of thing. So it's almost that kind of relationship, but you've got to be so careful. You know, if these people, you know,
they know what you have, and then they show you selectively
selectively,
what
like,
they have,
yes,
which is
yes,
going to be
this is all I have is a bottle of hot sauce. But I can do 100 things with this hot sauce to survive. Leave them alone. you know,
Yeah.
because there's nothing to gain from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now I do remember the fact that there. Let's say, for example, you have the immediate community. Yeah, you have the immediate community, and so you can use like different colored light bulbs. Like if there is ever a panic situation, or let's say a home has been invaded or something like that, you would turn on a certain light switch, and the color of that light switch is that light bulb will either be red or blue. It's a silent giveaway to all of the people in the neighborhood that that household is in distress. Yeah, but see, that's got to be planned out. There are community watch groups. Be a part of your community watch group. Those are the people who are going to reveal themselves to you. Yeah. And to the group itself. And then you can pick, okay, I want this one out of this group. I want that one out of the group. So there may be 20 people part of the community watch program. 18 of them you're going to leave alone, but it's those two or three selectively that you will confide in because you have seen that they are trustworthy and that they're level-headed.
Okay. All right. So I know you all have a su- uh, um survivalist expo coming up. Um, if you all can give a shout out to that and kind of entail what it's gonna be about or whatever.
Okay, so coming this Saturday and Sunday on October 12th and 13th in Tuskegee, Alabama, is an event called Survival Con. And in Survival Con, Saturdays we have 7 different workshops. And then that evening, the individuals who participated in those workshops are going to be, they're going to pull different colored paper out of a hat or out of a basket or something of that nature. Yeah. And then the individuals who have selected the same color, they're going to be part of a team. And on Sunday is a team versus team challenge to do these different tasks. Now, the task will include field target archery, tomahawk throwing, 22 caliber rifling. It will also include open wound suturing, building your own
communication radio.
communication radio station. So they're going to have to combine the components. We want it not only to be a physical challenge, but also a cognitive challenge.
Mhm.
So these teams are going to compete against each other in, and also there's incorporated an obstacle course within this. So it's like you have to go through the obstacle course and then do a certain challenge. Then you got to go out that and then go through another obstacle course to do another challenge, and it has to be done with a group effort. And the first team to actually complete all the tasks, that team will be
SurvivalCon winner
SurvivalCon winner of
2024.
2024. Exactly, and their names will forever be written in the League of Legends somewhere
Now,
in the universe.
now the psychological component is being able to work with total strangers.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 people that pick the yellow paper, that's the yellow team. Then we're
Okay.
gonna have the orange team, red team, green team, blue team, purple team, and so with all the colors that are picked, that's Saturday night.
Hmm.
These guys have to assemble themselves early in the morning on Sunday.
Well, they may actually assemble at the time. Hey, who got a yellow paper? And so they may collectively decide among themselves. Okay, you're good at archery. Okay, we're gonna do you, and you're good at this, and da, 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 da. So they may decide how whatever strategies they can incorporate to win the following day's challenge.
So being able to work with total strangers, you have to exercise patience, you have to exercise wisdom, you have to everyone has to be aware of each other's skill set, who will be the best at whatever task is in front of them. One person cannot leave the group has to travel together. The yellow team must travel together. And let's say if it's the suturing, so then the instructor for that class will have to give the go, because that person representing the team was successful on that suturing. Now she's going to give them an envelope to go to the next task. And so that's really how it's going to go. It's going to be fascinating. The breakdown will be interesting.
Yeah, the
Um,
breakdown, because now it also includes foraging, also includes firecrafting, also includes wildcraft medicine. I'll be teaching that class along with the archery class.
I'll be teaching water filter and archery,
Okay.
And so we're going to be observing on Sunday how
Hmm.
these groups will either come together
or
or
fall apart.
or fall apart. And see,
Yeah.
that is the real challenge because we
Okay.
never really know how the dynamics will play themselves out when there is a disaster.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there is a problem.
Yeah.
So hold on a moment. Okay, my apologies.
No, you good.
So so yeah, the dynamics again will be interesting. The name of the event is Survival Con. You can find it on Eventbrite. Tickets are selling now.
What's the address again?
The address is 955 Tyson Lane in Tuskegee, Alabama.
Off of I-85. The route name is Wire Road. So Wire Road in
Yeah,
Tuskegee,
it's the Wire Road exit
Wire Road exit
from
off of
I-85.
I-85. So it is right off the interstate. So
Okay.
again, Tuskegee Road. I mean, was it Tyson Lane?
Yes, it's 955 Tyson Lane in Tuskegee. And you can also visit our website, Lynx Survivalist, LYNX Survivalist.com. And the first thing that's going to pop up is going to be Survival Con. You click on the poster, it'll bring you to the Eventbrite page. It'll give you a detailed instruction as to the dynamics of the workshops on Saturday and the challenges on Sunday.
Okay. All right. So we're wrapping it up or whatever. It definitely has been a pleasure um to get this information that people really vitally need or whatever. Because think about it, like you all say, you can't prepare whenever disaster already here. You gotta be prepared in advance for the
Exactly.
disaster to get here, so that you'll know how you how you have to move or do what you got to do or whatever. You can't be out there in the hustle and bustle, because think about it. Once people hear about something hitting the fan, everybody out there at the same time, people fighting and doing what they gonna do or whatever just to get the stuff whenever you could have already had the stuff and prepared, instead of trying to get prepared whenever disaster, like I said, or
I
whatever.
remember I was in either Walmart. I think I was in Walmart. Um, just when sheltering in place was announced, the curfew was set 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The entire water section was empty.
This was 2020.
This was 2020, right at the peak of the C-19. I reached for a gallon of water. A woman jumped and grabbed it right before I was able to clutch it, and then grabbed it, looked at me, looked back, and ran. So this is a sheltering in place scenario. This is not world chaos of riot fires, no lights, no running water,
Or EMP or earthquake.
EMP. And talk about EMP. I have an EMP device in my car where if an EMP does hit, my vehicle will be the one running. I would suggest people research it as
EMP shield, right?
EMP shield, and the promo code is prophecy. Prophecy Club.
Okay.
So
And
yeah, so that's
okay. And
a good device.
that's a device that you all sell on your website.
It is in one of our stores. We have about half a dozen stores on the website. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And say that promo code again. What's promo code?
Prophecy Club.
Okay.
Prophecy Club is the promo code. And
Okay.
they also have units for the house. So they have EMP units for the house, EMP units for your vehicles.
All right, sound good, sound good. And the thing about it, this definitely gonna be some vital information for the people to have or whatever, and to hold on to, and hopefully they take heed to what they hear or whatever. Because the thing about it, it's definitely important information, not just listen to, but like I say, definitely take heed to it or whatever. And it definitely been a pleasure talking to y'all. The Blackshear brothers from Lynx Survival. It has been a pleasure talking to you all. And
Same here. Thanks for having us.
all right, and until next time.
Okay, thank you very
All
much.
right, okay, all right. Y'all have a good.
All right.
All right.
Peace.